About a year later, when I was 21, I was broke. And I was broke. I didn't have money to supply my pill habit, and somebody offered and said, "Hey, look, I got this other stuff." I said, "I got heroin," And I said, "Well, I guess I could do it this one time."
Welcome to this week's edition of Recovery Happens. My name is Patrick Patterson with BW Rock. Today we're going to be sitting down with Nate as he offers hope to encourage recovery.
Growing up, I thought it was a pretty normal life, but turns out that was wrong. My mom was in the grips of active addiction most of my childhood, and my dad was constantly at work due to his apprenticeship, so he was never home. So it was just me and my identical twin growing up, basically having each other's backs. And that way carried on until about my teens is when that started to change a little bit. And then my dad was around a little bit more, but me and my brother were wreaking havoc upon this small town that we were from, And when I was about 16 years old is when I started getting heavy into drugs. Right? I tried my first joint when I was 15, even though I swore for so long after witnessing what my mother went through growing up that I wouldn't do anything. I was going to remain abstinent from all drugs and alcohol, but I couldn't keep that. I don't know. And then when I hit that joint at 15, something changed in me. I really loved it. And that went on for a while. I started smoking weed every day, and eventually that progressed. Right. When I was 16, I tried my first pain pill, and I loved it. But I didn't. That did not become a problem for me yet, I thought. And I started drinking too on the weekends, and I found this fascinating drug called ecstasy. And I realized when I took that, I could drink like a fish, right? And when I could do that, then I could impress everybody around me, because everything I was doing at that time was to please other people. I wanted to show off for other people because I didn't feel good about myself inside. I did that, and it became an everyday habit of let's take some ecstasy and let's drink a bunch. And it became a big habit for maybe about a year and a half. And then I broke my collarbone. Right? Broke my collarbone, and they put me on a bunch of pain medications. And I was eating them like candy. Right? Well, they gave me a bunch of them for a reason. I didn't look at the prescription. No, I just was taking them because, they must have just gave them to me to just eat at free will. And so I did that, and I developed a nasty habit with pills. That went on for quite some time. And I was working and doing the things I could to maintain that habit. At the time, my brother was he was shooting heroin. And I swore up and down the river that I was not going to ever try heroin. It's never going to happen. It's not me. I just can't. Well, about a year later, when I was 21, I was broke. And I was broke. I didn't have money to supply my pill habit, and somebody offered and said, "Hey, look, I got this other stuff." I said, "I got heroin," And I said, "Well, I guess I could do it this one time." And eventually, I'll skip ahead real quick. I didn't see that as a problem until November 25th, 2015. My identical twin, I was with him at my sister's house, and he had taken his own life. I witnessed him take his own life. And I couldn't really comprehend everything that had just taken place in front of me. And the best way I could cope with that at that time, moving forward, was to just black it all out with drugs, right? And I did that, and it wasn't just heroin. And then it went to drugs that I didn't even particularly like. It was just something to block out this emotion that I was feeling inside that I didn't know how to control or deal with. And I went crazy, and I started doing things to get the little bit of drugs, and I was doing these things that I swore that I was never going to do. And I went to treatment a couple times, and it didn't really click. I thought that I was going to die that way. I had this stigma in my head that I wasn't necessarily an addict until I was using for 10 years. And at about my 10-year mark, when I was 26, I went to treatment, and something clicked when I was in there. It was kind of ironic that I had that mindset, and at about 10 years, it just clicked, and I wanted to turn my life around. When I got out of treatment, I went to three-quarter housing in Port Huron, and I was in there for about 9 months or so, and it was cool because the camaraderie in the house was amazing with other recovering addicts, and we'd wake up every morning and start our day off with a meditation, which I had no idea about before I got into recovery, and it just helped my days go along. It was amazing. And then I stayed there for the 9 months, and then I moved out, got my own place for the first time in my entire life, something in my own name, and I got back my license, which I hadn't had in 8 years, and I had a child in February, and my first child, and it was the most incredible thing that has happened to me thus far in my recovery, and possibly in my entire life. Because for one, I did not see myself being a father. I didn't even think that I wanted kids until this beautiful little boy came out, and it's changed my life. If anything, it has driven my recovery has made my recovery stronger and made me more driven toward my recovery. Because I know if I don't have my recovery, I won't have the things that I worked so hard to gain back, right? Or gain at all in the first place, right? And that's truly like one of the biggest blessings that I have today is that little boy, right? Coming home and seeing his smile and his face light up when I walk through the door every day is, oh my God, it's like heaven.
Thank you for watching this edition of Recovery Happens. If you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, please give us a call at 888-68-BWROC